Countdown for blast off. X minus 5, 4, 3, 2, X minus 1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million, could be years, on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science.
Warning. The following are thoughts and opinions that belong to 4chan and Reddit. They do not reflect the thoughts and opinions of the Atomic Shaman Sweat Lodge. This is for entertainment purposes only.
There are guys that get to be tall, handsome, athletic, and also have big dicks. My question is, how does God decide the distribution of these ideal vessels amongst the human population? Does it have to do with karma? All because he wants some vapid bimbo. You deserve what you get. What are you talking about? The pick or the post? Take your meds? No, you just get what you get and you don't throw a fit. This is why many of the angels fell, because God made them to be arbitrarily inferior to himself and other angels by whatever degree. Namely Satan. Many people go to hell because of this as well, that they were born to an inferior station and resented it for their whole lives. False. Somewhere out there are X amount of men and X amount of women really into some specific characteristic you possess and are insecure about. It's a given. If you aren't actually devoid of a soul, avoid the covered narcissist death cults of inceldom and femceldom and filter out all of the defeatist bullshit they spout. Every post from someone deeply entrenched in their dialogue gives them narcissistic supply. Just try to look within and resolve your traumas, live your life while trying to maximize the amount of opportunities where you might meet people, and know that way will open. Because reality is pretty depressing. There are probably no gods that we know of and we're just a product of evolution. We get what we get because our parents had those genes to make what we are. Small dick for those who need to learn humility. Big dick those who need to learn self-esteem. I'm just trolling, by the way, it's not because of this stupid shit. I will say though, your spiritual self probably doesn't care about dick size very much. It can have as big an astral dick as it wants whenever, so I doubt dick size factors into the incarnation decision much, as in you wouldn't care if you had a small one temporarily during the incarnation, unless you're incarnating specifically to be a big dick guy, which probably happens. Negroes generally have a lot of children, but their children usually don't live long due to low their intelligence in general and other genetic problems like probably sexually transmitted diseases. Tall and more athletic people were probably bred to be that way because they were slaves. Intelligence always wins. A bear has the strength of 10 men, but they are totally at the mercy of men. So like John Keane said, it's not about the survival of the fittest, it's about the survival of the survivors. No one really knows what determines who gets to survive. So basically having a small dick just means you didn't incarnate to have a big dick, there was some other purpose. I feel like this is the correct answer, as I am a dysgenic woman who happens to be South Korean. I'd kill to be born as Sawi Tai or Angel Lola Love though. Women don't get sexual stimulation from dicks but from emotions, like feeling sheltered/safe. Big dick porn is for and by gays. Negro worship is a mystery to me, I'm too disconnected from the hive mind/noosphere/gestalt etc. I purposefully distance myself from it. Well, I initially wanted to be born like Pick-related or Pamela Anderson, but that attracts too many nautilusts and I have no desire to be a Christian mother who lives off the land. Your soul chose your body and looks before you came here. It's possible you already had a past life with a harem and so you decided you wanted a tougher challenge this time. The hive mind is suicidal, it became really obvious from 2020 onward. Something is driving the masses to die off like lemmings jumping from a cliff. That's bullshit that we choose, though. I never would have chosen to be a theft victim, both of ideas and ovum. I am not the hive mind, I just refuse to procreate until I am born in Andrew Tate's world. Not Pitlick or Puto/Cholo's world. I have no Korean on my keyboard, but my thoughts aren't weird at all. I enjoyed being a prostitute, hated being in a forced relationship with Adam Goebel. I enjoyed traveling the world, I hate staying home all day doing nothing but chores. That being said, Korea is a beautiful country. Just like Japan. There's a black Korean here, am I reading that correctly? Yet it is weird, because who the fuck would rather be black? You sound like a chronically online incel D-Sug. You are totally part of it, you are probably vaccinated too so you'll probably never escape it, except if you're very lucky which I doubt. Laugh all you want, my feelings are my feelings and they are valid. This isn't a penis thing, is it? No, it's a hot chick thing. Why be black when it sounds like you just want breast implants and a gym membership? Stop letting this retarded femcel freak shit up what could be a good thread. You can't change facial bone structure. Nor can you change fat distribution, even with Brazilian butt lifts. The fat will just die if you are predisposed to slim hips. There are guys that get to be tall, handsome, athletic, and also have big dicks. What's even worse is when you're all of those things but can still never have sex because of autism. Women will fuck an ugly short guy over an attractive guy who seems off in conversation, even if it's just for a short moment. Looks really don't matter to women. If anything, they seem to prefer ugly guys from what I've noticed. They like guys who don't seem to take care of themselves at all. If a guy is attractive it'll give them the ick. Why do you believe in God? Didn't the idea of God seem completely retarded to you when you first heard about it? I remember being 6 years old thinking there's no way people actually believe this, and now I see adults seriously talking like this without even trying to be funny. What anime are you referencing? Everyone gets what they deserve in this life, literally and without exception, life is perfectly fair and just under God. Be but the starving leukemia African children without legs. Yes, even them, if you have a problem with this you have a problem with God and need to take a hard look at yourself. I know this may sound harsh but accepting this fact is the only way to make it. Complainers get stuck with shit and striver/manifestor/laws of attraction chads get what they desire. I'm perfectly happy with my looks. Women are always initially interested in me. It's my mind that prevents me from fucking. For women, being completely hideous is forgivable, but 2 seconds of awkwardness even if it's so subtle you couldn't put it into words in unforgivable. They'd take someone who looks like an ogre over someone who is more attractive than the average person and has autism. They actually will fuck people with autism, but they'd have to be either more or less autistic than me. My autism lands right in the zone where you can't fuck. You only think that because to think otherwise would be questioning God and therefore a sin, and you'd rather say that everything is fine than risk burning in hell because you were traumatized by religion as a child. Not really. I can just see how people victimize themselves and lose their holy power by doing it. You do you though, I'm just keeping it real. God doesn't care about the winners and complainers, God cares about winners, God rewards positive life-affirming energy, God rewards competition and cooperation. What God does not reward is treason, sabotage, or resentment. You get what you deserve. No, you're not psychologically capable of acknowledging flaws with reality because you equate that as questioning God and burning in hell as a result. This is just how you're expressing your complete inability to question your idiotic religion. You fear questioning your make-believe God to the same extent that you fear walking into a fire. It's both funny and pathetic. The true answer is too complex for a human to comprehend. God can perceive everything everywhere all the time. He can perceive which decisions are the best ones to make. All situations are blended together with purpose. Basic Christian theology. My YouTube video Gnostic Theosophist didn't say that. Kill yourself. How does God decide? What makes you think it is his decision? We have free will, and your parents had the free will to learn as much about nutrition and exercise for a young child as they could. It is surprisingly cheap and only requires cooking from scratch and exercise. If you were like my parents, they believed the bullshit about children's exercise can stunt their growth, among other asinine boomer shit. Beyond them, our ancestors could have continued the tradition of feeding growing children and teenagers meat from teenage animals to gain the hormones, in addition to things like blood pudding and liver. Beyond that, it was also common in most cultures to raise an animal on what amounts to gourmet food and kept in extremely clean conditions, resulting in higher quality blood and hormones for a pregnant mother and growing child. All those ancient Chad memes you see about them being tall and blah blah blah, most of that is diet. That same diet is easy for you to do, pork being especially good since it was outlawed for being so beneficial to humans. You'll recall how we grow spare human body parts in pigs now for a reason. They are nutritious because of that genetic similarity. Our ancestors made these hideous mutts and mongrels we have crawling the earth. They chose unsanitary living conditions from their stupidity, shitty food habits, and all the other dumbing down of the human race. The human race fell from grace millennia ago. We are just the leftover meatbag scraps. It's all downhill from here. God didn't do or decide any of this, we did with our free will. Who the fuck would rather be black? Every single G'd. Tall. Halfway decent looking. Intelligent enough, you could do anything you wanted in life level smart. Statistical anomaly level huge penis. Petite/regular women indicate interest pretty regularly. Fat/feeder fetish, so I'm attracted mainly to fat women, but specifically the fattest of the fat, like 500 plus lbs on the right build drives me insane, and I desire to make women I'm with hugely obese. Life is funny anons. Until. You were extremely based until this word. Tits or GTFO. Pierce, is that you? Based, I'm a average guy with a thick cock, I'm exactly the same man. Plap on brother. I'm 6 feet 1 inch tall. Handsome. 166,000 a year. 7 dick. I haven't had sex in over a year. Plenty of ugly ass women want to fuck, but I ain't into ugly fat whales. I'm not tall, handsome, or rich enough, clearly. I'm 7 feet 7 inches tall. Godlike in my beauty. 40,000 Bitcoin a day. 17 dick. I haven't had sex in over a century. This, I know that I am really prone to hubris and violent streaks. So being born into this abomination of a physical vessel is a good way of humbling me. I know it's Christianity, dummy. I've gotta really slow it down for you apparently. I was mocking Christianity by suggesting that it sounds like anime. You're very stupid. Why are you so focused on other men's physical appearance? Get rid of your envy. Beauty will not save you from death, it is vain, a cultural construct. It's way better to be attractive than it is to be ugly. You'd know this if you've ever been attractive at any point in your life. It's night and day. The only distinction between death and life is night and day, anything else is vain. It is better to be rich in gold and wisdom, and to have an abundance of wine. Do you slap your cheeks and cry because you don't have gold, wisdom, or wine? Your suffering is self-inflicted. It is worse because beauty cannot be counted, unlike gold or wine. It is better to be rich in gold and wisdom, and to have an abundance of wine. Okay, but you're more likely to get those things if you're attractive. Everything is easier than it would have been otherwise if you're attractive. Do you slap your cheeks and cry because you don't have gold, wisdom, or wine? No, I've never slapped my cheeks and cried. Also, I call it money and booze, not gold and wine. Your suffering is self-inflicted. Don't know how that relates to the very simple point I just made. Did you just feel like saying it? Ignoring the fact that you know nothing about me or my situation, anybody who says makes that claim just sounds like they're desperate for engagement. It is worse because beauty cannot be counted, unlike gold or wine. What's worse? You can't just say it and have me know what you're referring to. The only distinction between death and life is night and day. No, that is not the distinction. An analogy may be, or perhaps a metaphor, but not the distinction. That's grammatically incorrect. Go back to whatever Jedi Council you graduated from so that they can teach you how to write a proper sentence. Anything else is vain. I'm completely lost now. Are you just trying to concoct a string of words in the hopes that I'll assume that it's deep? You are a man. How does God decide the distribution of these ideal vessels amongst the human population? Maybe God wants some of us to get things done. Big dick porn is for and by gays. Not necessarily. I love it when a girl is just there to work and loses her cool because getting butt plowed feels too good. I saw your mummy fucking Santa Claus. That was probably just my dad. He's literally a big fat guy with a white beard and hair. Mate, women do not like short men and being below 4 inches is a bad thing. Retard. True, thanks. Well, when you put it that way. My lust died the second I wrote the average feminine nature on paper and stratified it according to its moral nature. I am now convinced that the only thing you are supposed to do as a soul, as a man, is to wrestle your own flesh into submission, find God, and develop a prosperous and altruistic relationship with our Creator in order to escape this prison. 99% of women are half humans with no souls. Everything they strive for and enjoy is ultimately evil in its nature. The very core of femininity is absolute evil that seeks to devour good men with the same glee and joy you'd get from stomping out some dorky kid's sandcastle. Once I realized why women are the way they are, it's like I've finally been enlightened as to why hermit monks become hermits in the first place. It's all a lie, it's all a joke. This planet is a prison. Women are archons who genuinely don't give a fuck about anything, but they have to pretend to have interests beyond themselves just so men don't become suspicious and notice the huge disparity in the nature of each gender. It's not a complementary nature, it's completely one-sided and parasitic. The entire role of women is to entrap a man's life force and pull another soul onto this false reality incarnation trap. That's all they were designed to do. Satan takes a hold of their hive mind vessels with comedic ease and no resistance. They are all beyond corrupt, they fall apart once a month and endure pain unless they fulfill their ill-natured task. There is nothing in this world worth striving for besides God's love. There is absolutely nothing in this world that is worth your place in heaven. I see women dating ugly short guys all the time. The only guys who they absolutely will not date are those who are on a specific place on the autism spectrum, regardless of how attractive he is. Women don't care about looks. I had 3 odd dreams last night, none of them sexual in nature, but they left me feeling disconcerted when I woke up. I'd like to decipher their meaning. 1. The pastor at my church got angry at a particular member during a service, humiliated him in front of everyone, and forced him to leave. I'm certain he would never actually do something like this. 2. I watched through the window of my house as nearby homes and buildings had their second stories blown off by strong winds. There was no tornado or hurricane, just wind strong enough to topple roofs, trees, and whole buildings. It was as if I was watching this in slow motion. 3. I was at work, and I somehow found out my ex-girlfriend was in the building for some coincidental reason. In reality, I've missed her less than I would have expected in the 2 months we've been apart, but in this dream, I missed her greatly, and decided to text her. I was afraid she had a new boyfriend, though. She responded happily, but not with any interest in being with me again. Then I woke up. The last one seems easiest to understand, but in the context of the other two, I'm not sure. You might just say these are random, meaningless dreams, but I went to sleep feeling pretty good, and then experienced these weird, borderline disturbing dreams, and woke up feeling not so good. It feels very strange. Wow, what a compelling point. Thing. Is like the vapid pop culture you endlessly consume. The Spartans were purposely fed less meat to keep them shorter. It seems that the real you is the one that chooses the vessel. The harder the experience is, the better. I don't know exactly why. There are guys that get to be tall, handsome, athletic, and also have big dicks. These vessels are ideal for getting women. If that's your only goal in life, I get why you would feel envious. Women. Yes, because 4 billion people are all the same and have the same paraphilias. Have you heard that some men prefer shorter women and others prefer taller women? Women are the same because men and women are the same. Projecting what one's mother did onto all women makes no sense. My ex kept going on about how she's into guys who are shorter, even though I was taller than her. I prefer tall women, but height isn't a deal breaker for me. Many women who may prefer taller men think this way too. No matter who you are or how you feel, I guarantee that there are some women who want the same thing because nobody's thoughts are unique. Being below 4 inches is a bad thing. I don't know what porn teaches people, but you don't have to have point of view sex to get your woman off. In fact, most women orgasm through clitoral stimulation. I hope you are just going through something and aren't a covered/vulnerable narcissist like the others who spread this retardation. If this is the case, I wish you good luck, and again, please stop consuming that slop. Holy cope. What makes you think a man wants to resort to anything outside of point of view to pleasure a bitch? Do you want to do that? Do you want your son to do that? No, you probably don't. Every man wishes they had a thick long meat to pound a bitch's pussy out, you fucking retard. Is like the vapid pop culture you endlessly consume. I've only seen 2 anime movies in my life. One I didn't care for, and the other is coincidentally one of my favorite movies, although it has nothing to do with the animation style. I would have liked it as much if it were live action. Every time a stupid person like you doesn't like what I said, you have make up something else that I didn't say to argue with me over. Life is funny, Anon, I'm in the same boat. Tallish thin blonde women seem to like me the most when I prefer short brunette waterbed body women. I dated a high 300s/low 400s woman not too long ago, but she had a lot of problems, sadly. Sometimes one's dreams are incompatible with reality. Look man, dicks don't matter. Get your head out of the cave walls. Start looking around. Blue Eisenhower, November. Amen. I'm attracted mainly to fat women, but specifically the fattest of the fat, like 500 plus lbs on the right build drives me insane. This indicates poor health. Attraction to unhealthy people means that natural selection has selected you for death. A healthy person would be attracted to thin women, who there is currently a smear campaign against. A woman with a perfect body will get called anorexic, even though anorexic women look nothing like that. The natural female body should be enough for you. Extremes like being morbidly obese or anorexic are signs of poor health. Scat fetishists are probably the most detestable people when it comes to sexuality. We've all heard that sexuality and fetishes are something you can't really judge someone on, and, unless you're some kind of Christian extremist, we've probably all thought at some point that that makes sense and accepted it. But I can't shake the feeling that it's more of a sliding scale. How can you interact with a scat fetishist at all knowing what they're into? It's like a shit stain on their entire person. I found a girl online who I thought was kind of hot, and yet there was something holding me back about being attracted to her. I looked her up and found images of her shitting. Suddenly I understood why I was so put off by her. Some things you just know. Your higher consciousness will tell you to get the fuck away from certain people. What kind of person would be into that, or even something like BDSM? Certainly not anybody you would ever want to be around. Their fetishes are designed to cut them out of society, like scraping off dead skin. Their bloodlines have no place in this world. There are guys that get to be tall, handsome, athletic, and also have big dicks. My question is, how does God decide the distribution of these ideal vessels amongst the human population? Does it have to do with karma? It's random. When your father comes and when your mother is ovulating, the sperm and eggs will have random DNA between it. For example, a sperm may have the genes of a blue yes, but another sperm may have the gene of the green eyes. So whatever sperm gets inside the egg, it will become a living being. It's random. But the thing is that if a person with a desired trait fucks another person with the same desired trait, then the chances of that trait passing to the child increases. Let's say both parents have blue eyes, the chances of the child having blue eyes is greater. But to be fair, I totally think sometimes God creates a human being who is not random, who has all the trait that he desired, even bad traits. Maybe God is designing a fucked human being because God hates the parents or something like that. I don't know. It's like a gotcha, the simulation makes it fair enough. In this sim, everything is designed at random. There are guys that get to be tall, handsome, athletic, and also have big dicks. Yes, we are. My question is, how does God decide the distribution of these ideal vessels amongst the human population? Does it have to do with karma? Actually, I don't know, because I'm not God. But I have upgraded some my traits with magic. I believe that this has brought me closer to the ideal that was conceived by God. You know, according to popular opinion, God created the first people, and in the interval between the first people and me, there were also influences from other beings, and not always favorable, unfortunately. God made you with a special goal in mind. The destiny is for you to fulfill God's role for you, and it's the only fully meaningful, well-lived life out there. You, we are all special, and have a purpose. Talk to God to find out and give you strength in order carry on in fulfilling your destiny. None can stop you in doing so. You will be blessed by God, and you will do things that are deemed impossible. You will move mountains. Nothing in this world is random, it's all connected. From what I know, I may be wrong, the only thing that matters from dreams is what you felt, the emotions involved. The harder the experience, the more lush you are likely produce. Nice try. Earth is a school lizard. Why would you think that a god has anything to do with it? This is why many of the angels fell, because God made them to be arbitrarily inferior to himself and other angels by whatever degree. Why? That's just fucking with people. Well, a heaven populated with people like you sounds delightful. Yes, I know you'll say something like WDYM, like Christians. But honestly, an anti-Christianity shill couldn't be more unappealing than you. I want love, actually. Very cringe and gay indeed. Why? Christianity is impossibly retarded unless you are, because you can't tell. Luck isn't coincidental at all. Big dick those who need to learn self-esteem. Can confirm. My self-image is in the fucking trenches. I'm tall, handsome, athletic, and have a big dick, but I have severe OCD and can barely exist in society. If there was any intention behind those traits, then why would they be given to someone like me with no means to benefit from them? Take NAC, thank me later, winky face. Also, you could take glycine with it as well. Damn, looking it up, and I'll definitely give it shot. Thank you for the recommendation. Same. Been told I have zero game. I am certain it's actually negative, opposite of a wingman. I am grateful for being good looking along with additional blessings. I do everything else right if I can convince them to fuck. Apparently, we're communicating with aliens. Simon Holland on YouTube claims that we have been communicating with aliens for a few years and dropped a video about it today. He says that scientists are using a technology called quantum tunneling. Apparently, this technology involves equipment that sends and receives signals instantaneously, which eliminates the problem of sending something that will take hundreds of light years to reach its destination. The issue that we are having is deciphering what they are saying to us. Much like Amy Adams' character in the movie Arrival was brought into the government to solve. I really enjoy his videos, and he seems extremely sincere. What are your thoughts? I am being gangstalked. Even the police are in on it. It's bad enough my family and associates are in on it. But the police being in on it is a complete joke. I got locked up for being disturbed by the neighbor below me in the apartment, and responding by kicking her door and then being falsely accused of threatening her with violence. Soon as I went to jail, the same bullshit I heard from her and the floor just shaking like crazy happened in my cell. This is not delusion or related to drugs. I know what I am experiencing. Just like everyone else, the police play dumb when confronted. I heard them saying the same bullshit the gangstalkers repeat non-stop when I was in the police vehicle. What the fuck is the point of this? It's been over 1 year. Why am I a target? I didn't do anything, and if I did, it was a response or reaction to someone else's BS and justified. If I can't go to police, who do I go to? Did we die? So this happened about a year ago, and I still think about it all the time. I don't really know how to explain it without sounding crazy, but it's the experience that sent me down the whole quantum immortality rabbit hole. Dear moderators, the story has brief mention of drinking. However, I want to clarify that I was completely sober the whole time. About a week before the main event, my friend Morgan and I were driving, and a car cut in front of us and kicked up a rock. It hit my windshield literally right in front of my face. For a split second it felt like the rock almost went through the glass and into my face, even though it didn't. I turned on the windshield wipers thinking maybe it was dust, but there was a chip with a tiny crack coming off it. We both saw it, talked about how annoying it was, and I didn't worry too much because where I live windshields get replaced for free all the time. That chip stayed there all week, directly in my line of sight. Fast forward to about a week later, I was supposed to meet Morgan for a night out, but I got out of work late, and by the time I got there she was already a little drunk. I decided it was better to just drive her home first so I could relax and enjoy the rest of my night without worrying about her. It was raining pretty hard, I was on the highway doing the speed limit, there are about 5 lanes and I was in the middle lane, with a bunch of cars behind me. I hydroplaned. I drive a sports car and I have experience controlling it, I drift corners sometimes, so I know how it responds, but this was different. I started fishtailing across the highway, within inches of the median multiple times, like back and forth across all the lanes. We ended up doing a full 180 and were facing the wrong direction in traffic, headlights coming straight toward us. As soon as the car stopped spinning I booked a U-turn and floored it so we wouldn't get hit. Now this is the part that really messes with me. Morgan is someone who knocks out instantly when she sleeps. She's incredibly hard to wake up, like you could be mid-conversation and she's gone. She wakes up in that moment with a gasp and says, "We got into a 9-car pileup." I just stared at her because that absolutely would have happened if we'd hit the highway maybe 10 seconds later. After that everything felt off. While I'm driving I realize the chip in my windshield is gone. Completely gone. The chip that had been right in front of my face for a full week. No crack, nothing. I have a dash cam, so I pulled over later and checked the footage. My dash cam records in 2 to 3 minute loops. The entire loop with the hydroplaning, the spinning, her waking up and saying that, is just missing. Not corrupted, not half there, just gone. Like it never happened. What makes you a target for them? Like seriously, how do they find you and put you on whatever list they have? I've been pretty much a loser for the 22 years I've been alive, only one semester of college back in 2020 and never had a job in my life. Thanks to my autism, I've been socially recluse most of my life as well, leading to me having almost zero presence/popularity. In the online world it isn't much different. Most of my accounts are private and my last public comments were on Facebook over 6 years ago before I stopped talking altogether. Most of my interactions were on Discord. And while I do agree I did make some friends, but also pissed off some people, it's pretty much nothing, and I've been forgotten by most of my friends already. So seriously, how did someone as irrelevant as me end up as a prime target for these people, or is that the point? Do they just go for losers that will very likely not fight back and just off themselves? Help me please. I'm sorry, I don't speak English, but I really need help, so I apologize if my English is bad. Like everyone else, I've always had bad feelings, negative energy, and seen strange things, but they would eventually go away. Recently, things at home started going very badly, in every way. Everyone was struggling financially and emotionally, but things began to improve little by little. Everyone started to get back on their feet, and things seemed to be going well, even for me. Then, out of nowhere, cockroaches and moths started appearing in my house. I know cockroaches are a sign of filth, but believe me, my home is always clean. We are very clean and tidy. I started feeling watched, as if someone were in my room or spying on me from not too far away. I thought it was normal until, whenever I was about to fall asleep and laid my head on the pillow, I felt someone touching me, touching my bed. This began to terrify me, so much so that I started going to sleep at dawn because that way I felt less afraid. I started seeing things, silhouettes, shapes in the air, shapeless things floating around. I don't know how to describe it, it's crazy. But what terrified me the most was yesterday when I felt a weight on my bed, like someone was climbing on it or sitting down. Right after that, my cat appeared. It was pitch black, and she started growling, like cats growl when they're about to fight. I felt a little safer until she climbed onto my bed and started biting my feet. No cat has ever bitten my feet before, much less her. She doesn't do things like that. I tried to sleep until I was touched again, like it always happens when I'm about to fall asleep. I got really scared and tried to grab my phone to turn on the light, but the creepiest thing was that it wouldn't even turn on. I felt a lot of weight in the room. I finally managed to sleep at dawn, but today while I was sitting on my bedroom floor, things were falling that shouldn't have fallen, things that I put in a good position to prevent them from falling because they are fragile. I don't know what to think or what to do anymore. That's why I'm writing this and posting it here, in case someone has been in this situation and can give me some advice or tell me how to act. Anyone ever see something very close to this? Specifically not during sleep paralysis, but shortly after waking up in the middle of the night, at least that's how it was for me, and from a stressful dream to FWIW. I thought I remembered someone say something about it on Reddit a long time ago and am curious how common an experience it is, if it is even common at all. Help. Okay, I have a ton of stories to tell and a lot of answers I need to get, and this all involves the Illuminati and reptilians. I've been being tortured mentally through voice-to-skull technology ever since Christmas of 2021. And they can literally make me hear voices inside of my head, and they continue to repeat my every thought back to me, or they'll come up with a reply to my thought. I've had some people tell me that I'm not crazy, but for the most part my family just thinks I'm schizophrenic, and I know I'm not for real. Like they comment on my every move and watch me as if I'm some sort of monkey in an experiment. They have continuously brainwashed and eroded my willpower to a fine powder, if I'm being honest about it. A few years back I even tried to kill myself because I just couldn't take it anymore. Plus they still keep telling me it will be worse if I don't kill myself. Even as I'm typing this post, I'm still being continuously tormented day and night non-stop. If anyone has any insight on how to cancel out or kill V2K technology, please let me know, because I am hopeless and destitute at this point. I long for having a sound mind again, and I must find a way to cancel out or at least mitigate the voices they're pumping into my head. Oh, and another detail I'll add is they can literally mentally torture me no matter where I go. I go to a store, boom, I'm being mentally tortured. I go on a boat in the middle of a goddamn lake, where I thought for sure they wouldn't be able to reach me. These creeps are too. I'm tired of all the gang stalking and want nothing to do with them, but it doesn't look like they're going away anytime soon. Hell, I could write a whole damn book, I've been through so much. If anyone has any answers or helpful advice, please let me know. I wouldn't wish what I've gone through upon my worst enemy, and the people / entities that psychologically kill people need to be dealt with. What should I do? My neighbors have been using voice-to-skull technology on me for a year straight. Throughout the torture I was able to find out their address, even the inside of their house. I have seen and talked to them in person around my property and got a good look at all of their faces. Who should I do? Should I report them? Voice-to-skull is a tool used for conspiracies to commit murder. I have been going through voice-to-skull since 2019. The targeting lasted months on end and only stopped when I went to the hospital. Every time after leaving the hospital, the voice-to-skull always started back. I began to notice a pattern around my perceived substance use. The gang stalkers try to hide their crimes by making you seem like you are in a mental health crisis or a drug-induced psychosis. This is not true. The only thing they do is try to make you seem unreliable and untrustworthy by feeding you misinformation that they get you to use to try and report undocumented claims of harassment or stalking. This just strengthens their attempt to make you look unreliable or in a psychosis. When my voice-to-skull first began, I made a lot of trips to the hospital for hearing voices and calls to the local authorities to report it, which landed me in jail a couple of times. However, I was introduced to a program that gave me a psychiatrist. The doctor does not believe that I am being gang-stalked by private citizens or the government, but he also put me on medication for schizophrenia. For a while, I heard no voices and thought that they must have grown tired of their false allegations, but after not hearing them for a while, I wanted to test my theory of voice-to-skull being hidden as a psychosis every time I use a substance. So I used, and sure enough, the voice-to-skull started back stronger than it was when it stopped. I like to argue that I am innocent of committing any crime that could have caused this torture, but voice-to-skull voices argue that it is justified because I informed other inmates about my cellmate being a pedophile while in county jail. The voice-to-skull is the county jail's way of retaliating against me for using my freedom of speech against a white Christian male. They have even tried to use rhetoric to try and act like they are doing the Christian thing by trying to make me out to be a hypocrite or use the example of eye for an eye from the Bible. Christian beliefs and rhetoric cannot be used as a justification for violating constitutional and civil rights. America recognizes that there is a God, but United States of America is not a Christian nation. It has now been 6 years since I started hearing voice-to-skull, and it is just as debilitating to me now as it was on day one in 2019. Since my tormentors and voice-to-skull voices have tried every way possible to threaten to kill or rape every member of my family, including my fiancée, if I didn't kill myself. I believe all targeted individuals are currently the target of a conspiracy to commit murder. How do you know that you're at home and not in a psych ward? How would you even know this? What if your reality is completely shifted and you don't recognize what year it is, where you are, etc.? When I was at the mental hospital, I shared a ward with a dude that had no idea where he was, and because of that doctors had trouble communicating with him. So sometimes I wonder that maybe everything is a hallucination and my room is not real and I'm actually still in a psych ward. My greatest fear is that we are some type of abandoned experiment. Without getting too dramatic here, I remember watching episodes of Maury Povich where they would have the paternity test and the 1 or 2 year old's face would be zoomed in on. Both parents would be shitty, and even as a child I would think it was a really sad situation being exploited for entertainment. Sometimes I think of the storylines that put us here, and the one that bothers me the most is that our creator made us for whatever purpose and then just peaced out, and since then any malevolent extraterrestrials that finds us here have been able to experiment / traffic / exploit us because we're so vulnerable. Obviously I think this is an extremely simplified version, and I do think there are benevolent guides as well, but if I were to pinpoint a reality that bothers me, it's that we were just another creation of an advanced asshole and now left to fend for ourselves. I think there's probably a deeper spiritual thing going on here, but on the face we're like children growing up without dad around and we're sort of getting by. But it could be so much better. Occultism in Hollywood. Is everyone in Hollywood secretly an occultist? We link famous actors to the occult. Rel Brian Butler will be performing Aliester Crowley's Bartzabel working tomorrow night, Tuesday, December 4th at the L&M Gallery Space in Venice Beach. James Franco and Nutzir will also participate in the ritual. Was this real / legit? Did it actually happen? But yeah, the evil and darkness in the world is likely more than any one human can comprehend, but don't worry and do not be afraid, because you don't need to consider it if you're not heading that way. Jesus is the light of the world, Jesus is Lord. Zumia heads probably don't know it, but President Ronald Reagan started out as an actor. His wife Nancy was into astrology and hired a woman named Joan Quigley to help guide the administration. James Franco is an occultist and possibly even a powerful one. I don't know what I think of the guy who made this video, but he has collected a lot of really good evidence against Franco. The video mentions a few of the practitioners had mansions in Laurel Canyon. I just watched an interview with the author of that book, Weird Scenes Inside the Canyon. Why is that place a hotbed for occult and glowy activity? Accusing a Franco of being involved in the occult is like accusing Elton John of being gay. Actor Christopher Lee warned about occult. Some places due to rock formation, some other fuel to electromagnetic anomalies, some other for being formerly sacred sites, abandoned church, Native American cemeteries, Native ceremonial circles / sites. It all about energies / gates. I wouldn't take this shit too seriously. Is he an occultist? Probably. Is he any good at it, or is he just LARPing because he's rich and bored? A guy I went to high school with met him once when he was in college. He went to this like art / writing school, that I guess EQ's pretty famous or something. One semester he was going back home and preparing to leave the dorm. James Franco comes in and is acting a bit arrogant. He's not rude, but he's like one of those guys that assume you know he's famous and that you care. My friend did not. He started telling him about how he was taking some classes at the school because he wanted to be a poet or some shit. He let my friend read his poetry and said it was some of the worst shit he ever read. The point is, rich people are free to follow whatever whim pops in their head, but it's a master of none type thing where they just barely scratch the surface level or put in the commitment to really become good at something. James Franco probably thinks he knows a lot about the occult, but you probably know more about it than he does if you're posting here. Very possibly Pendleton Ward is into it. Jack White was married at the Detroit Masonic Temple, and Insane Clown Posse and Billy Corgan regularly have wrestling shows at Masonic temples in Detroit, Cleveland, etc. Do you think James Franco just tells every rando he meets about his inner workings? What were you trying to accomplish with this seemingly useless post? Do you think James Franco just tells every rando he meets about his inner workings? What were you trying to accomplish with this seemingly useless post? Peter Lorre. His daughter later made headlines after serial killer Kenneth Bianchi confessed to police investigators that he and his cousin and fellow Hillside Strangler Angelo Buono, posing as undercover police officers, had stopped her in 1977 with the intent of abduction and murder. But let her go on learning that she was the daughter of Peter Lorre. Really jogs the nog. Wait, that Peter Lorre? Pick rel title poster for Fritz Lang. John Paul Rice, producer for Hunger Games, made a video on social media years back about child trafficking / sacrifices, celebrities / Hollywood and elites. Yes, good find. My point was to speak to his character. People see famous people like James Franco who seem to be involved in occult activities, and assume they are like a high-level magus doing all sort of secret important shit, but mostly they're just dabblers and larpers. Having connections and money isn't going to make you good at something or substitute the time and commitment required. My point is you're making James Franco way more important than he is. If there are actual important occultists you've never heard their name. He's not doing black cube shit, this is like Thelma, right? Surface level occult stuff you can just go buy books about and learn yourself. Actual occult stuff remains hidden. Similar to Johnny Depp? Him I actually believe. He was of nobility but didn't lie about it like most other actors these days. All the aristocracy know about the occult and a ton of them are in the entertainment business. It's the plebs who are clueless or trying to catch up. The hieroglyph for M is an ALG-17 in Gardner sign list. Yes, it's real. Franco backed out at the last second and someone else took his place though. They televised it? Sorry, I can't find a YouTube link. What a pussy. Like rituals actually do anything. Sorry friends. He's a satanic nibba. Dead on June 7th. Satanic equals 67. Christopher equals 67. 6-7 is the day that leaves 207 days left in the year. Sir Christopher Lee equals 2073. Bart Zabel. Aliester, you fucking nerd. Check out Dave Navarro's elbow tattoo. I'm sure he named the album Blood Sex Sugar Magic for funsies. Who else likes cubes? How many sides does a cube have? What's the number of the beast? What does the pole of Saturn look like? Duh. Remember back in the early days of YouTube when they tried to excuse all the celebrities who did the Illuminati symbolism of only doing it for controversy and attention like it was some marketing strategy? Fucking Redditors. Meanwhile, records show celebrities showcasing the symbolism dating back to the 60s, way before any satanic panic bullshit controversy. She has a very masculine hair pattern there. Leave my boy Franco alone, bro. This is your CIA agent speaking. Take your pills. I am in your walls, by the way. Dave Navarro wasn't even in the band when this album was released, nor is he on the cover. Not that that precludes him or Red Hot Chili Peppers of being occultists. Didn't their bassist and guitarist kill River Phoenix at the Viper Room or something? No doubt there are successful people that have used occult principles to acquire said success. It would almost be impossible for something like that not to happen given the availability of said knowledge. However, stuff like this is the definition of LARPing. Just surface level aestheticism with no substance. Heard through the grapevine that Steve McQueen is a descendant of royalty. No clue as to any other details. Just had to reach deep in the vault for that tidbit of trivia. Just a rumor, unless other Anons can say more on it. There will never be another black performer like Sammy Davis Jr. Blacker than the Ace of Spades. True ebonic spirit personified. The Masonic Temple in Detroit is amazing. Detroit was said to be the Masonic center of the world. I wager it still is, it just needs the rebirth working. None of these people are in the occult closet, they have all been open about their practice and based their careers around openly occult themes. I mean, it's literally Kenneth Anger LMAO, the director of Lucifer Rising. Brian Butler and Kenneth Anger are underground experimental Arthus guys. They appear to be into the occult because they are generational occult slaves, mind control victims. Pretty much required if you want to make good art. Particularly story-based art. Thelema is the 16-year-old driver's permit stage of a spiritual adept, so yes, that's about where they all are. It goes from with a car you can go anywhere you want to wrapped around a lamppost in the astral ghetto real quick. Anti but satanic is Christian fear of labeling for connection with the inner daemon, which is an entity of chaos. Artistic creation is necessarily a chaotic process, or else it's just AI slop, which is why, with the exception of Christian metalcore in the late 2000s, Christian music all sucks, but the second you think you control the chaos is when it's got you. That's why the pipeline from trying salvia at a party - sex magic rituals - drawing your own blood to feed astral entities - drawing animal blood - drawing the blood of children can be a matter of 2 years. Most wash out in the middle, mind you. T had a friend who was a model in the Hollywood goth trend that washed out at the animal blood phase. Now he's a self-hating Chris Kook influencer with barely any views. It's a man. Most the powerful elites have men have their wives. Looking at you, Billy Gates. How do you reconcile this belief with the works of Tolkien, Bach, Tolstoy, Michelangelo, etc.? Or would you argue although all of these men were Christian, they were occultists? It seems many of history's great artists were men of God, so how does this jive with what you are claiming? Jesus himself spent a season in the desert with his own personal devil before he was ready for his great work. Get behind me, Satan becomes the devil has my back. It is the Antichrist that promises false light of eternal order and one-size-fits-all solutions. Oh, come on. Some girls, in order to have success and fortune, are ready to let themselves be fucked by a pretty nice white goat, and even capture it on video, on Blu-ray disc for memory. There is nothing unusual in this. In the previous 7,000 years, some seekers of happiness also dared to do brave things. Of course, no, they prefer professional occult services. You don't put a filling in your tooth on your own, but go to the dentist. The division of labor is a sign of civilization. J.K. Rowling has Solviti coagula inked on her arm, which are the same words on the Baphomet. She's a dragon bloodline celled who seeded red pills into the mainstream to help awaken dormant Atlantean priesthood souls. That's a good thing. Jesus is Harry Potter and the Vatican is Voldemort. Jews are the boot-licking Death Eaters. That's a funny way to say it. Probably accurate. Nobody is accusing these people of being wizards. I'm sure specialists are utilized. The phrase is alchemical. Transforming vices into virtue to achieve perfection of the soul. Using the energy behind negative passions and turning it positive. For example, transforming anger into assertiveness. Interesting theory, inclined to agree. Are you just saying this because she's English? She's leading the charge against true insanity, and this alone makes her a warrior of good. Allegedly, a team writes the books. She's just a front face. It's so weird to me after all these years that you guys will still make occult paranoia threads. A few threads down from multiple other ones about how to practice occultism. Fucking that people in Hollywood are into it too. He may be satanic and he is telling you the shit will steal your soul, probably from experience. Found a demon. Meds. The producer of Killers of the Flower Moon, 2023, S wife was killed for him making a movie involving Freemasonry. If everyone does it, and everyone knows about it, then why do they care? Kenneth Anger. 10 more reincarnations. Successful art and creative projects implement occult ideas. Occult imagery and themes naturally intrigues humans because it's essentially using symbols, archetypes, and scenarios to convey distinct messages to the brain. These symbols predate written history and are naturally a part of us and our souls. Look at almost any successful movie. Branding is full of it, even people like Martha Stewart make use of occult symbolism. Look at the most successful cartoons of the 2010s, Adventure Time, completely overloaded with occultism, and My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic. Harry Potter, Star Wars, even Star Trek used occult symbolism but made it science-y. Pokemon is loaded to the brim with alchemical references. Dark Souls, which thrust From Software into being a major studio, is a dark fantasy retelling of the Gnostic story and involves heavy themes surrounding the demiurge and creation of mankind. Our religious holidays are centered around occult symbolism made somewhat exoteric, but not terribly obvious. A good recent example is the amazing digital circus. This is also part of the reason Christian, and Muslim, media sucks so much. For people with power and means, it's easy to take it way too far and go insane. TLDR. Occult symbols hijack your brain and manually make you feel things. Frequently reported in near-death experiences and ketamine are null spaces or voids, with spaces of white light in opposition. Often described as a matrix beyond form. Does the checkboard imagery of Freemasonry have more to do with this? Like John D. Crowley was a secret agent of the Cecils, who used occultism as cover, an eccentric image of provocateur, to create a mysterious and iconic image. Pickrell and James Dean used to try to contact the dead. They also made a deal where if one of them died, the other would try to contact the one still living. It goes with the drugs and homosexuality. These theater kid spiritualists get all the attention when actual white magicians keeping this ship of fools afloat are just random dudes walking amongst you. A bunch of down on their luck neats are about to go wizard mode soon. Are you just saying this because she's English? No, because she has the phenotype of a dragon priestess and writes about Western occultism. I don't even know if she's aware, but she does subtle things like cutting her nails to look like claws and maintains strawberry hair with alchemical symbols. For those that see, it bleeds through in her astral body as well. Technically true. In a world that worship light, truth is the hammer of twilight to the false gods. They worried that a high-profile victim would bring more heat. Or is there some other reason? Guitarist John Frusciante spiked Phoenix drink with both cocaine and heroin, a combination nicknamed Speedball. He didn't want to kill Phoenix. To his own drug-addled mind it was a practical joke, a prank. When River was about to give up his ghost, the ambulance crew could have given him Narcan, a drug that may have saved him, but everyone around denied he had used hard drugs. River himself didn't know because the drugs were in his drink and Frusciante remained silent. Also, River's parents didn't push the investigation because they didn't want to ruin his brothers, Joaquin Phoenix, and sisters' rising careers in Hollywood. Not everyone, but if the person holds a high position or an important job where decisions are done, then you can 100% assume that the person in question is in the occult. There's no way for a lame to hold a position of power where important decisions will be made, no way. You must be part of the coven. I remember the first time I read Harry Potter. I remember something about Dumbledore and this guy called Nicholas Flamel. For some reason this name got my attention. Nicholas Flamel, who was the creator of the Philosopher's Stone. I think this woman is a witch. Because she named the man who created the elixir of eternal life Nicholas. Nicholas is another name for Satan, which is identified by the nickname Old Nick, so there's definitely a correlation here between this Nicholas and Old Nick, Satan. And his last name is Flamel, which is related to flames, fire, hell. Flame Flamel. My point is that this whore used the Old Nick as an inspiration for this Nicholas Flamel character. My point is that this whore is a witch and she knows about occult stuff. Same Anon, here. I forgot to say that we can now that she is a witch and is part of the occult because she got billionaire by promoting witchcraft to children. She made witchcraft cool to young children, girls, and boys alike. That's why she is a billionaire. She did her part very well. She made possible that witchcraft was into every home in the world pretty much. My parents claimed to be Christians, but even them did not mind putting Happy Potter movies in the house. You see my point here? This shit is deep. Harry Potter made witchcraft fashionable for a whole new generation. Just imagine how much people got into the black arts because of Harry Potter, and that's why she is a billionaire. Satan rewarded she. My favorite show is still Ed, Edd n Eddy. Other than the episode where Ed performs a curse ritual, is there occult stuff in Ed, Edd n Eddy? Supposedly Bob Dylan confessed doing a bargain with the devil for the fame and glory he had. He did. It's on YouTube or something, I've seen it. Most people played it off as a clever joke from the poet. Might need to read it again, but I think it was mentioned in the Lauren Kenyon book. Those stooges are just tools. Sure, they're vectors for degeneracy, but I really doubt they're conscious about anything. By the way, since we're on topic, anyone has the screen cap of the Miley Cyrus conspiracy? The one about her being murdered and replaced by a deepfake? The owl is Isis/Ishtar/Astarte/Hecate. Even the Bible makes reference to the occult. It's just been obfuscated by the institutional changes, invention of original sin and faith will save yet. Most people don't sit down and try to reference the Bible against other ancient writings. Patrick Swayze was into crystals and magic wands. Not even joking. Using occult forces for selfish gain is an abomination. There is nothing wrong with magic. During filming of the 1996 witch-themed movie The Craft, Fairuza Balk developed a strong interest in Wicca and purchased an occult bookstore in Los Angeles. She later clarified she sold it and distanced herself, denying full practitioner status, but the association persists. Please go on, you too. J.K. Rowling's rise to fame is very interesting and extremely unlikely. Harry Potter was literally the first thing she ever wrote. What are the chances that your first novel outsells the Bible? Not only that, but everything went perfectly for her. She got a massive cut of the merchandise profit, the movies were really good, even the inferior later movies. Compare her to other successful authors like Rick Riordan, whose movie adaptations fucking sucked and kinda tanked people's perception of the books. I once read a PDF of some conspiracy guy linking her up to a bunch of MI6 spooks and European royals through her bloodline/surname, not sure how true it was or if it has any connection to her success, but it's out there on the internet. I'm of the belief that she is definitely a very magical person but is somewhat unaware of it. She probably did study things like manifestation before writing Harry Potter and perhaps manifested her success, probably knowingly. I think she definitely knew of Neville Goddard. And there are real esoteric references in the Harry Potter books, the Philosopher's Stone, the Hand of Glory, Agrippa, the Horcrux symbol is basically that one alchemy symbol readapted. But I don't know if these were just references/stylistic choices or some kind of magic. Another thing is that people found old horoscope charts she made in the early 90s, for her pregnant friends. She is astrology savvy. Astrology is kind of dismissed in the Harry Potter universe. She comes across as a very skeptical person on interviews. If she isn't lying, then in my opinion she is one of those people who are very spiritually powerful but clueless of their power, or who try to bury their own magic powers. Rowling doesn't know shit, retard. She's propped up by bigwigs of the industry. There is nothing wrong with being a witch, because it was witches who discovered the healing, witch doctor craft, and curative properties of plants and fungi, and Jotunic pharmaceutical corporations have been trying for centuries to exploit this knowledge for super earnings. We're cool, but I wasn't talking to you. Everyone in Hollywood is cringe. This should be bare minimum awareness, OP. No shit, man. Watch Starry Eyes. Theosophy is for brainlets. That's because your neurons at the base rendering are starting with 1 and 0 and tuning them into 1.000 and 0.000. There is much more to it. Near-death experiences and ketamine are fake. You're not going anywhere, you're just running out of computing power. Only many neurons can use checkerboards to transit back into that space, but that's where my knowledge ends. Obviously Masons are LARPers trying to attain what naturally comes to Chads. Scientology ripped off elements of the Ordo Templi Orientis. Former and current members include Tom Cruise, Will Smith, John Travolta, Danny Masterson, Nancy Cartwright, Elizabeth Moss, Kirstie Alley, Laura Prepon, Jason Lee, Kelly Preston, Beck, Erica Christensen, Giovanni Ribisi, Sonny Bono, Juliette Lewis, Bijou Phillips, Isaac Hayes, Priscilla Presley, Jeff Conaway, Jerry Seinfeld, Ann Archer, Jenna Elfman, Billy Sheehan, Edgar Winter, Marissa Ribisi, Peaches Geldof, Ethan Suplee, Greta Van Susteren, Bodhi Elfman, Catherine Bell, Chick Corea, Christopher Masterson, Jeffrey Lewis, Haywood Nelson, Jason Doring, Jeff Pomerantz, Judy Norton-Taylor, Lisa Marie Presley, Doug E. Fresh, Jennifer Aspen, Jim Meskimen, Karen Black, Kimberly Cates, Lee Purcell, Michael Pina, and bunch of other D-list celebrities. And take note that Frusciante did spend like a decade in a drug-fueled barely conscious state after that, so it's not like he didn't feel guilt. He probably did and used drugs to numb it. That's true, he was a mess. It's clear that Roman Polanski at least dabbled in the occult. He hired Levy as a consultant. According to the Chaos Manson book, there's a theory they were trying to birth the Antichrist from the wife who was later murdered. She did some sort of satanic ritual the night before. Basically Rosemary's Baby. Manson said he murdered the baby Antichrist, but who knows? Could be bullshit to drum up the race war the glowies keep wanting. I just rewatched Rosemary's Baby. It is so much better if you have even a little bit of occult knowledge under your belt. If I didn't know any better, I would guess they were making a moonchild or whatever they call it. The checkerboard imagery is a literal representation of the void and white light opposition. This vid is a good watch that kinda explains the stuff from the POV of someone who was in the industry. I hope the wrath of God falls upon these folks because they are absolutely wicked to their core. Remember the one documentary that came out around Covered Out of Shadows or something? It seems like after that went viral you started to not see stuff like that being made anymore, they just started going away. It's not a secret anymore, everyone knows these Hollywood pedos are insane with too much money and time. They are getting ass raped by AI now though, lol. Only if by occultist you mean pedo sex pest. It gets weirder when you find out that Manson was a Scientologist and lived right around the block from the Process Church chapter in LA. Tom O'Neill, despite the acclaims of Chaos, never mentions this. He's running misinfo on behalf of Scientologists. Polanski and Manson were involved in a large-scale snuff film ring. Have you read the Maury Terry book? I haven't, but was wondering if it is worth reading. Even if it was an accident, it's gross how people cover for the show business system. Parents who sell their kids into the system must earn a special place in hell. For hell isn't real goy. Remember in Bruno when those parents lined up for the chance at fame? Baby crucifixion and operating heavy machinery. Because it involves treating everything that has come out of Blavatsky's mouth as gospel even though there's nothing to support her claims, or those of her friends who theosophists also believe. I attended a Theosophy lecture once, and it was complete and utter nonsense, like thinking the Essene gospel of peace is legitimate, yet everyone just accepted it as the truth without questioning it because Blavatsky said so. You are downplaying the satanic black magic that Hollywood casts. That faggot over there is adored by millions of retards, no joke. This is a sign of how strong the media spell is, to the point it makes girls believe that faggot right there is hot. My point is that it may look silly to us, but it does work. You can't argue against the results, and the results show that they are indeed capable of messing with the people and brainwashing them. There's a whole world we can't see and perceive. That guy is like 50 years old and he looks like a twink. Is that achievable without child blood? The question should be who is not in the occult club. Cat Williams LMAO, he's been talking about them for years. Nobody cares about what Eniglet says, sadly. The entertainment industry is ruled by Satan and filled with the demons that God allows to fully pass as human if they so desire, traditionally Nephilim. Demons take humans trying to be actors, aka liars, extremely seriously and murder them in cold blood universally, though not always right away. They sometimes mislead the human into believing she or he is the Antichrist, which is actually Satan, in a sometimes lifelong process which they refer to as the mysteries of Dionysus. I am the last Christian prophet of Revelations, and I survived my encounter with the entertainment industry through the Holy Trinity's grace. Little Rock, Arkansas is another significant Masonic location. The influence there is huge. It's where Albert Pike lived later in his life. Johnny Depp and Damien Eccles have matching I Ching tattoos.
Are you a targeted individual? Have you had a paranormal encounter, or are the victim of an unregulated government experiment and would like to share your story with us? Would you like to send us some fan mail or a hate-filled rant? Do you have an idea for a future episode or wish to send a complaint to HR? Email us at atomicshamanSweatlodge@protonmail.com. Like, share, subscribe and be sure to check the notification bell. Follow the Atomic Shaman on Twitter at Motel and RV Park. Listen to Paranormal Green Text Stories on Atomic Shaman TTS on YouTube. Catch the live streams of Atomic Shaman Sweat Lodge only on Rumble.